Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. Tune in for a vibrant mix of fashion, finance, and life's essential foundations. Join us for expert interviews, insightful discussions, and empowering insights to elevate your lifestyle. From fashion trends to financial tips and personal growth strategies, we've got you covered. So grab your headphones and get ready to be inspired. Tune in now to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show and embark on this exciting journey with us.
Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Talk Show. I am your host, M. Teresa Lawrence, here on KCAA Broadcasting Network, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, where we cover over 5 million households in the greater Los Angeles area. We are also affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. You can listen to us every Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time on any of your favorite podcasts and streaming channels. We are also in Roku TV, Amazon Fire, and Android app. Just subscribe to Building Solid Foundations channel. So once again, I am your host, M. Teresa Lawrence. I am the president and executive director of the Trueness Project. We are uplifting, I would say, humanity through the power of storytelling. I know we focus on children, but the truth is the power of story transcends and really uplifts everyone. And once you know that you have power over your life, that your thoughts create your reality, and the story you tell yourself transcends into the story that you live, your world entirely changes. And with that, because it's a perfect transition to our guest today, Ozzie Stewart, who I read her bio and I said, wow, this is a woman that has told stories through dance, through storytelling, and now she shares other people's stories through her podcast. So it's phenomenal. So let me read the bio of our lovely guest, Ozzie Stewart. So here we go. Ozzie Stewart is a Trinidad-born performer, producer, and visionary whose artistry spans dance, fashion, acting, and storytelling. Trained under Nobel laureate Derek Walcott, she toured internationally before earning scholarships to Alvin Ailey, Joffrey Ballet, and Martha Graham schools. Ozzie later became the first Black woman to own a fashion showroom in Times Square, representing top designers. I have so many questions about that, I just have to say. Her acting career includes work in Pariah by Dee Rees, commercials for Lifetime TV and Bayer, and appearances on Power 3, Manifest, and FBI's Most Wanted. She is the founder of Beyond the Call 24/7 Inc. and host of On the Call with Ozzie, a podcast spotlighting voices of resilience. In 2025, she took her show international and produced the acclaimed Healing Abuse Through West Indian Heritage event. A best-selling author and award-winning actress, Ozzie's lifetime reflects purpose, perseverance, and a deep devotion to humanity. So with that, thank you and welcome, Ozzie Stewart. It's a pleasure to have you.
And it's a pleasure being had.
I want to ask you about your career. Can you, I really, because this is about storytelling. So if you could share with people your trajectory from where you started, like where does this all start? I mean, I read you started ballet at such a young age. So
yes, it's my mother was the one who put me into ballet at the age of 6, and later on it was piano. But piano, my teacher, I never forgot her name, Miss Osborne. She would hit me on my knuckles with the side of a ruler, and it was not fun. So I stopped doing piano, and I wish I had continued or gone somewhere else. But the dance went from a ballet to modern to musical theater to the invitation to audition after touring, and touring with people like Derek Walcott, who's an amazing Nobel laureate, and being able to perform with James Earl Jones, Roscoe Lee Brown. Some people may not remember Roscoe, or to work with Galt McDermott, who did the musical score for Cotton Comes to Harlem, and here was just, that life was just wonderful. And then I got to New York and I got these scholarships, and it was a mad, wonderful time from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And at that time, Madonna actually, we used to go to, she used to come to Ailey's for classes. And at that time, we, not having any money, we'd go around the corner on Third Avenue. That's when Ailey's was on 59th, between Second and Third. Go around the corner to there's a Dunkin' Donuts there, and have our chicken soup with the saltine packets
Oh,
of
I remember
saltine
those.
crackers. It was the best time. Shared and cared, and it was the best time. And then we weren't supposed, I was on scholarship, we weren't supposed to go audition, but we used to sneak out. And my audition, the last audition I had was with Bob Fosse when he was doing All That Jazz. And on my third call back, my friend who encouraged me to come up was in Alvin Ailey's third company, and they were leaving, they're returning from a performance, and the bus had a collision, and he almost lost his leg, and another friend was lost, and so I just felt my switch from dance at that point was to be able to be there for him, and then during that time, I just did not return. It's in my book there.
Talk
But
to me about your book. Well, we'll
the
go
book,
back to the book. We'll go back
yes,
to
we'll
the
go
book
back
in a
to the
second.
book. Yeah. And I just decided, to do something different. Take the dance out on Studio 54 floors and Paradise Garage and all those wonderful 80s discos. And then came the call to the fashion industry. I started as a secretary to one I did not know, the $7 million woman. She was called Teresa Matthews. I'll never forget her name. And she taught me everything. And from working in the women's industry, the showroom across from me was this massive industry company, Code Blue XX Baggage, run by the Margolese.
And was this in the fashion district in New York?
Yes, was in the fashion district in New York. And so I went from one company to another, from women's to men's, and I stayed in the men's industry and got to work with a lot of fantastic people. On the hip hop end would be Busta Rhymes, putting I became known as the person that you would hire to elevate your sales, your numbers. That I did really well, especially in the men's industry there. And I never sold myself in order to get the order. And that was a very important thing for me, which, a lot of women at that time needed to learn. But so I grew. And then at one point I said, well, if I'm doing this for others, I could do it for myself. So that's when the showroom thing happened. And I opened my own showroom. It was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. And I did
And
things
it's
differently
in Times Square.
in Times Square, right on 42nd Street on Broadway. At the time, it was the store below was Gap. The Gap was there for years and years and years. Now it's some other sports company or something. But it was 13 wonderful years. As a matter of fact, even when I left the industry, a lot of my customers kept calling me up. Hey, Oz, what do you have for me? Do you have anything for me? Do you have anything? I gained a certain following.
That's beautiful.
That was a wonderful time. And then I needed to do something. You've done things and you just need to do something else. And therein came, I was called back, or really tricked back by a friend into the entertainment business. A friend of hers was doing a film, and by this young man. And I've got to tell you that this young man pushed me to do things I thought I wouldn't be able to do. Got me back off Broadway, got me a commercial agent, and pushed me to get a commercial agent. I mean, all these different
So
things.
he pushed your comfort zone. He got you out of that
Totally.
comfort zone.
Just by being in his film and there was something, I guess, that he saw that my little part became this big part based on allowing me to be free with the lines, improvising. And that grew. So therefore you have dance, you have garments, now film, acting, and all this other stuff. And I still have agents who put me out on the, as we say, on the streets for those things. And then came the book, which, and I've got to say, this may sound a little strange, but it came to me. It was not intentional from me. And then, that book happened. But
No, I get when you say it came to you. Like at
yes,
some point, there's that voice that doesn't
yes,
stop talking until you
right,
do exactly what it tells you to do.
exactly, because it tells you, wake me up, get up, you need to write. I mean, what is this? And it was a very intense period. And then my mom, I had a situation with my mom, being there for her before she passed. And then my son became ill and I had to be there for him. And then when I thought everything, life is so interesting. You begin to settle and say, okay, now I can breathe. Everything can calm down.
Okay, and with that thought, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
So we'll be right back.
So this is for growth-focused entrepreneurs. FireUp is ideal for business owners who wants to have access to expert resources, who prioritize visibility and brand positioning.
I love how confident she is in what she does as a brand strategist. She helps other business owners build their business through collaboration and also building their brand.
Build lasting and meaningful relationship.
I recommend this to anybody who wants to network or just meet new people in business.
Pay attention to what the challenge is, because if you know something of how you can help that person, then you want to have a meeting with them because there's an opportunity there.
I like the collaboration. It's not like most networking events typically, you just go in a room, people just go to who they know. And it's like, this is a little better, it gets you out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
So that's what's good about this. That's something I like to see more, like instead of just going to people that's what networking is, something you don't know.
It's nice to be introduced to a new format. This forces us to learn about each other's businesses and get out of our comfort zones and really participate.
We want to make sure that we value our time and we're very intentional and we have a purpose for coming here.
And that's the whole goal of this networking, is to really, get to know each other in a deeper level, because not just the surface, not just an acquaintance, not just first time meeting, because this is partnership also. I mean, you're here, you're getting to know each other, you're creating. That's why you have to build lasting and meaningful relationships.
In Karate Legacy and the Power Within, we don't just teach karate techniques, we share the inspiring stories of incredible martial artists. Latino Gonzalez, the father of karate, paved the way for martial arts in the Philippines. His legacy lives on through his sons, Rolando and Roberto Gonzalez, who starred in over 100 Philippine karate movies, captivating audiences and bringing karate to the silver screen. Then we have Patricia Gonzalez, a symbol of strength and resilience. After overcoming her own battles, Patricia's journey embodies the spirit of perseverance. Her story encourages us to face our challenges head-on and emerge victorious. Each character in this book has a unique journey, friends and students who have dedicated their lives to mastering the art of karate. Their shared passion not only deepens their bond, but also strengthens their resolve to uplift one another. Through these compelling stories, Karate Legacy and the Power Within reveals the essence of karate: courage, unity, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Join us in celebrating these extraordinary individuals and discover the strength that lies within you. Grab your copy of Karate Legacy and the Power Within, available now on Amazon.
And we're back. Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Talk Show. I am your host, M. Teresa Lawrence, interviewing our wonderful guest this evening, Ozzie Stewart. And when we left off, Ozzie was telling the story of her life. But I want to go back to her book, because she said that the book chose her. It was something that had to happen. And, I'm a storyteller. I love books. I tell people that books change lives. And so, Ozzie, tell me about the book.
This young man who moved me to accomplish a lot in the acting, and I'm now, at that point, I'm in my 40s. So in my mind, I'm going to do a little film and, and whatnot.
So before you continue, I want to go, so in your 40s, you thought that was old?
For acting, for films, and, I had done it already. I just looking for something else to do. I did the fashion, acting, I'll just do that. But the way you approached me was very interesting, because I was tricked into, I said no to my friend. I really don't want to do that. I don't want to go back. I want to keep going forward. And then I was invited to a party at the place called Nell's. It's an old club back in the day. It was a tri-level club. And I figured I'm just going to go and hang out and dance. And then this young man sits in front of me and says, so what's up with your story? I'm asking you to, I had Lean over there ask you to be in my film. What's and I'm like, who are you again? And he just said, listen, I have this thing, I have this part, and I think you're going to be good for it. And let's just do something right now. He had a script in his hand to give me, to go in the
Wow.
corner, to read lines. I said, man, I'm here to enjoy. He says, well, guess what? This is my cast party that you're invited to. Everybody here you've been dancing
Oh,
with,
that's why
a
you
part
say
of
you
the
were
cast.
tricked. That's why you say you were tricked.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so I looked at him and I said, you know what? Spirit, go. And I went and I read the lines, and it was actually pretty good writing. Get on the set, and he allowed me to breathe. And he would say, well, why don't you do something else? Think about, and he would just allow me to move. And it was a wonderful thing. What was supposed to be, I guess, an hour or so with just me alone became a whole long procedure. And after that, he just kept calling me and calling me. You've got to do this. I've called this director for this off-Broadway play. Little that I know, he called me on a Friday to go to an audition on Saturday, and the play is going to be up the following Thursday. And it's a 7-minute monologue to the audience where you're breaking the fourth wall.
Wow. That is
Okay.
so.
And all this virgin, and I go in and I'm sitting down with the director and saying, listen, I know he's doing me a favor, and if I'm not the part, plus the accent and all of this, well, making excuses to get away from the whole thing. You've got the part. I'm like, yay! And then, oh my God, I got to learn all this stuff. But anyway, put it to memory, did it, and then he just moved me. And it turned out the play was by an award-winning playwright, Jose Rivera. Really love his writing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
this book is about this young
well,
man.
what happened was that a year later, I got a call from the same friend that invited me to that party to say that this young man passed away.
Can I have the name of the young man?
Yes. Renton Kirk.
Okay.
Renton Kirk. And it was just a shock. And after all was said and done, about a month later, these get up and write. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm like, cover my head. Who's talking to me? Get away from me. Da, 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 da. But until I got up and wrote, I had no peace.
Mm-hmm.
And what I started writing, what was coming down on the page the pages was his story. And then I thought, okay, I'm safe. I am. But what started happening was things that I had buried, or I thought was buried, was now coming out on those pages. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not the deal. It's about his story, But it took me 18 years to publish that, because what would happen is that the stories that I thought were buried, that were personal, I guess I didn't want people to read it, I didn't want to put it out there. And at the same time, I could not erase it because I was speaking the truth, or to truth, right? Finally, in 2022, I released it to an editor who helped me put it together and got it out there, became a bestseller.
So I have many questions for you. Those stories you didn't want to give out. I'm
Yes.
sure that book helped so many people, and it became a bestseller for a reason. And I want to go back to the young man that helped you. It has been my experience in life, and out of nowhere, someone shows up and is relentless that we are to do something. And they show up like angels, like they were meant to be in your path. But you don't expect it, but there's a part of you that was calling for that person to enter your life. And, because I recently had that experience out of nowhere. Somebody took my hand and went, this is, you want to go there, but that's not where you're going. You're going up, and it's very powerful. And it is like a timeline shift. He moved you into spaces that perhaps you always thought you wanted to do, but never would have pushed yourself to go.
Could absolutely. As a matter of fact, last year we ended doing a tribute to him. It took me a long time to be able to get the people who were involved in his film, to come together, to sit down around the table and have, because my podcasts are live, I go to people, right, to get their story. I feel that if they are allowing me their stories, it is my responsibility to be there in the space. And now that everything is Zoomified, that that touch-feely situation is needed more so now. So I'm sticking with it. It's more expensive because I do work with a videographer who's fantastic. But and I don't really want to learn how to set this up and that up, and too much. But when we sat down, it turned out his best friend with whom he worked, her name is Winsome Sinclair. She worked with Spike Lee on a lot of his movies. She also later on worked with whatchamacallit in Georgia. I called her and asked her, you know, she and I had been close. And when I was beginning to write the book, she was there. She says, yes, you got to do this, but you got to write it in a way that it needs to be for TV series and, you know, her thinking. I'm like, man, I'm just writing a book and I'm not even writing this book. I'm like, it's being written. Call her up to say, listen, would you care to be, if you can't be here, because I thought she was in Atlanta. If you can't be here, could you pipe in? I'll bring you in, your voice in, to be with the group. And she goes to me, Ozzy, I'm back in New York. And I'm like, you're back in New York? She says, yeah, I'm back in Long Island with my family. She says, you haven't heard? I said, no, I haven't heard what? I have stage 4 cancer. She says, but I would gladly be here. And that's why I'm back in New York. And so we got that done. So, but it took a while for, you know, all of this to have some closure. And as you could see, I'm still very emotional about it because they're in my prayers every week. You know? So in the book, all of that's in the book. I think, no, this other part is not in the book because this just happened last year and the book was done in 2022. But yeah, his story was out. And so the things that...
Did it ever become a series or a film?
I have...
Or is that in the process?
I would like it to be. I am so busy with the podcast and now my nonprofit, which is...
We're going to talk about that
Yeah, it's just so much, you know, that would take some doing and that would probably make Winsome very happy. We'll see. We'll see.
But it's a beautiful story. And I want to share with the audience. I wanted Ozzy to talk about that because in life, God brings people into your life when you least expect it. And, you know, and last week I went to a mastermind in Sardinia, you know, with our friends. Yes. And yes. One of the things he had us do was write a letter to someone, you know, and we all have many people that have stepped in and helped us. Write a letter to somebody that changed your life. It was such a powerful exercise. Write a letter of gratitude. Say everything that you never got a chance to say if they've passed, and if they're alive, write a letter that you're going to send to them. And I started crying because I moved to the United States from Cuba and my family had nothing. And we moved to Scarsdale, New York, and we had nothing. And there was, you know, my parents were working all the time. I was a latchkey kid and nobody ever went to my games. And there was a man who was a very well-known attorney, and he was the coach of the boys team, and sometimes he coached the girls team. And he was an immigrant to the US, and he knew what it was like to be me. And I wrote a letter to this man, and I was crying so uncontrollably because he changed my life. He made it me, like he saw me, and he made it possible for me to say, it's okay to be here. And I know that I can belong. And he made sure I did belong. And that was the reason, you know, I was crying. I got to do everything that everybody else in this wealthy community did because of him. And it completely changed my life because otherwise I would have, you know, stayed introverted, and I never would have pursued my goals. And I never would have gone to law school, honestly, without him, because he was like, nope, this is it. And I said, well, what if I don't like it? He goes, you're a storyteller. Lawyers tell stories. That's how the best storyteller always wins.
And the interesting thing about this is after I had Winsome come in to speak on that particular tribute to Renton, it's a couple of months later, she passed away. So now all the people, when I spoke at her, I hate to say funeral, I spoke
celebration of life.
Celebration of life, thank you. I let people know that if they ever wanted to tune in and hear her voice, she has a very distinct voice. And I was able to let them know that the podcast there, and they could always hear her voice,
Well,
because she
that's
had
beautiful.
wonderful things
And-
to say.
And with that, we will be right back.
So this is for growth-focused entrepreneurs. FireUpConnect is ideal for business owners who wants to have access to expert resources, who prioritize visibility and brand positioning.
I love how confident she is in what she does as a brand strategist. She helps other business owners build their business through collaboration and also building their brand.
Build lasting and in meaningful relationship.
I recommend this to anybody who wants to network or just meet new people in business.
Pay attention to what the challenge is, because if you know something of how you can help that person, then you want to have a meeting with it because there's an opportunity there.
I like the collaboration. It's not like most networking events typically, you just go in a room and people just go to who they know. And it's like, this is a little better, it gets you out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
So that's what's good about this. That's something I like to see more, like instead of just going to people you know, that's what networking is, something you don't know.
It's nice to be introduced to a new format. This forces us to learn about each other's businesses and get out of our comfort zones and really participate.
We want to make sure that we value our time and we're very intentional and we have a purpose for coming here.
And that's the whole goal of this networking, is to really, get to know each other in a deeper level, because not just the surface, not just an acquaintance, not just first time meeting,
Because this is partnership also. I mean, you're here, you're getting to know each other, you're creating. That's why you have to build lasting and meaningful relationships.
In Karate Legacy and the Power Within, we don't just teach karate techniques, we share the inspiring stories of incredible martial artists. Latino Gonzalez, the father of karate, paved the way for martial arts in the Philippines. His legacy lives on through his sons, Rolando and Roberto Gonzalez, who starred in over 100 Philippine karate movies, captivating audiences and bringing karate to the silver screen. Then we have Patricia Gonzalez, a symbol of strength and resilience. After overcoming her own battles, Patricia's journey embodies the spirit of perseverance. Her story encourages us to face our challenges head-on and emerge victorious. Each character in this book has a unique journey, friends and students who have dedicated their lives to mastering the art of karate. Their shared passion not only deepens their bond, but also strengthens their resolve to uplift one another. Through these compelling stories, Karate Legacy and the Power Within reveals the essence of karate: courage, unity, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Join us in celebrating these extraordinary individuals and discover the strength that lies within you. Grab your copy of Karate Legacy and the Power Within, available now on Amazon.
Welcome back to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. I am your host, M. Teresa Lawrence, here with my fabulous guest, Stewart. And when we left off, Ozzy told us these beautiful stories that appeared in her book, her best-selling book, Amen to Sweet Spots, correct?
Correct.
And now I want to go back and talk about fashion because, as you all know, I recently had a butterfly fashion show at the Air and Space Museum in San Diego. And it was lovely. And I had designers come and with these beautiful models, and they all strutted their stuff, and they were so gracious because after they did their show, then they all put on glow-in-the-dark butterfly wings. They did my first ever butterfly fashion show, and some people dressed up as caterpillars. It was so fun. It was off the charts amazing. People that we know, Ozzy, were there. Chris was there. Chris Miller was there, and it was joyous, just joyous. So I want to go back to the fashion industry because you have this beautiful background in dance. You know, you're very well connected, and somehow you end up in fashion. What was that like? What was it like being in the showroom? What is the process like? I mean, do the designers just like come to you with clothing, or is there like a whole process?
Okay. So wanting something to do after leaving dance, my son was a little under a year. But I'm the kind of person I cannot, thank God I had a partner who was understanding. And I put out my resume, got hired by Teresa, as I said before, what I did. And she taught me so much. So she was representing a company called Climate Jericho, which is in the women's business. And what she would do is she'd sell the line. She was not making the line. So everybody in the showroom were all salespeople, but she would help merchandise what the line, when I say the line, the clothing line produced, or the manufacturers produced, right? So they produce the stuff, they put it on line sheets. So there's descriptions to the different pieces of fashion, clothing, and she would merchandise it in the sense of, well, this goes with this and this color goes here, and merchandise what it looks like and how it would sell. And then she would invite the buyers from the big guys, whether it's Macy's or at that time Dayton's and all these different large companies, as well as the independent companies, because sometimes the independent companies bring in the funds faster to the company, whereas the big companies, they get credit net 30, net 60, depending on how large and how big the order is, net whatever, which is sometimes just crazy. Anyway, and so it's all about numbers and getting paper meaning orders. Right? So that was my life, where I was learning how to merchandise the line, how to prepare a line, how to display the line, and how to sell the line, even though I wasn't selling. But I learned everything. What happened later on?
I'm going to
Go
interrupt
ahead.
for a moment. So everybody that's listening, take opportunities, because everything that we do is a step. It's truly a step to the next version of us.
Yes.
And so when you are in a position and it's new and you're learning, simply know that it's going to be useful for the future.
Correct.
So,
It so happened that what I did not know, what Teresa never told me, was that every 7 years, she goes on a sabbatical. She travels the world. Well, 6-7 months into being with her and learning all of this great stuff, she was getting ready to leave.
oh, wow.
And so new people were coming on board. And I was like, Teresa, what's going to happen here? Don't worry, they'll take care of you. But we know what happens. When new people come on, they come in with their new people, their own people, etc. And from the time that change happened, I knew it was time for me to find some other place. It so happened that on a Thursday evening, the gentleman who was running the company across the street, Code Blue X's baggage, which was like maybe 10 times the size of our company, met me as I was opening the door to the showroom one morning, because I would come in very early to set things up, to see what needs to be done, clean, whatever. And he said to me, do you own that place? I said, no. He says, why are you here so early? I said, because I have to do this, blah, 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 blah. I need to prepare things before. He says, I'm going to tell you something because I've watched you. And he says, whenever you need a job, I'm going to hire you. You just let me know.
Wow.
This is Thursday.
So that's on a Thursday. When did you call him?
I went to him that Friday because I've been feeling the shift with people, right? The new people that have come on board. And they're on board now 2 weeks with me. And I'm seeing things where I'm being pushed out. No, you can't do this. No, so-and-so will do that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I went in on Friday and I said, Phil, I know you do men's because I checked you out since you spoke to me yesterday. And I'm in women's, but I would love for you to consider me. He says, so what's going on? I said, well, there are new people who've come on board and, and I need to give them 2 weeks notice. He says, no, what's going to happen is once you tell them in this industry that you're ready to go, you're going to be out the same day. So be prepared. I'm like, really? This is my first experience in the business, right? He says, yes. He says, but if you let them know today, you have a job with me on Monday.
Wow, that is beautiful.
And so said, so done. I went in the afternoon to say, listen, I thought about it. Maybe I should wait another week. Went in the afternoon and I said, I understand that you guys are here and you have your way of doing things. And I feel like maybe I'm in the way. And I think I'd like to give you my 2 weeks notice. Okay, fine. Get your stuff prepared and whatnot. Make sure you leave this, and say goodbye. That was it. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, And I left, I walked across the way. I said, Phil, I'll see you on Monday. And I went home. Right?
Fabulous.
Good
That's
job.
such a great story.
And as I got into to work with him, we had 2 weeks to prepare for the largest trade show in the country. It was called Magic
That is
in Las Vegas.
wonderful. Wow.
However, he gave me all of the independent stores across the country. Across the country. I'm like, he says, you can do it. Now I have to make appointments for the show. When you go to that show, the corporation is now has the size of their booth is a couple of blocks big,
Wow. Huh.
right? And it's sectioned off by the different collections with the different people who are there to sell, etc. Huge. And so now the panic has set in, and I'm calling people. Ozzy, what kind of name's that? Ozzy? I can't give you an appointment, honey, but I'll stop by, see what you got. Didn't get one appointment, not one. My peers, you couldn't see the appointment page because they were double and triple booked. I'm nervous. I go in from the beginning to the end of the show. The show is a 4-day show. We go in a day before to set up, see things. And so in 5 days out in Vegas, my first show, Teresa, from the beginning to the end, I would go on the floor. And as people come to meet me, I'd say, hi, how are you doing this and this? This is what we're doing. And I'd start my sales pitch. And as Peter comes around, I say, Peter, hi, how are you doing? So, meet Joe, da-da-da-da. And this is where we're at. We pick up the line. And I would run the sales, yeah? And people came packed. At the end of the day, they would come back to me when I should be going to dinner, when the owner of the company, after this, the first day says, I'd like you to join us for dinner. I said, no. I have to meet with so-and-so because they want me to help merchandise their line for the store. Help them write their orders, in other words.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I lost weight. I didn't get to meet with anybody in the company. At the end of the day, my paper was stacked. That was what was important to me, right?
Right.
I got a notification from the owner and next time, wonderful stuff. As I saw that happen and I saw what was needed to make this thing happen, I finally moved on to have my showroom. And in this time, I am now the rep. I am now the owner of the showroom as a rep with my own employees. So my thing was, okay, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Instead of being a one lone salesperson with 4 different lines, meaning 4 different companies that you're running. When you go to Magic, you're running at 4 o'clock to meet this appointment at that booth, and you're running over there to, I decided it's going to cost me more, but I'm going to bring in my salespeople with me. It's going to cost with hotel and whatnot. And each person is designated a line to be in. So that means each person is concentrated on a company to bring that paper. So at the end of the day, paper was massive. And I started that trend. So that was a major thing for me. But in terms of merchandising, a line, I know we might be going on time, but
No, we're good. We're good on time. I just
good on time.
wanted to
Okay.
transition.
Okay. But when you're looking at producing a line now, for instance, Busta Rhymes wanted to put an order out, a line of clothing out. He had a designer that was working with him on his stage costumes. Different thing when you're looking at regular people. So I had to, and I already had connections in Korea and India and different places to produce lines. Sent the designer down to work on the line, disappeared. He's in the temple. Good to do, but nobody could find him. I had to get on a plane on a Wednesday, get to Korea on Friday, sit down with the manufacturer, create the entire line, get back on a plane to get back to a show on Monday.
Wow.
Yeah. So creating the line is a lot different than merchandising the line. You got to create like what Sarah does. She creates the line, et cetera, but if there's a collection, now it's a matter of putting it together so that it's merchandised in a way that people understand how to buy, and then it fills orders.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, because I had no idea what went behind all of that. And that's just a tiny piece.
That's a tiny
And for everybody listening, I get starstruck really really easily, and I'm starstruck with you and all of this with fashion. And then when I was in New York doing that impact book, we had the opportunity to be photographed by a woman who was a photographer for presidents and this, that, and the other. And, you know, she had stylists, and I'd never been styled, right? You know, like it was very cool. And so fashion for me is just, it's joyous because it's self-expression, and so much goes into fashion that nobody pays attention to, but just bringing the clothes to market, I mean, that's just an incredible story. So thank you for sharing. And with that, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Ozzy's nonprofit and what she has, the opportunities she has for you all to be on her podcast, if possible. So we'll find out when we get back. With that, we're taking a break.
So this is for growth-focused entrepreneurs. FireUpConnect is ideal for business owners who wants to have access to expert resources, who prioritize visibility and brand positioning.
I love how confident she is in what she does as a brand strategist. She helps other business owners build their business through collaboration and also building their brand.
Build lasting and meaningful relationship.
I recommend this to anybody who wants to network or just meet new people in business.
Pay attention to what the challenge is, because if you know something of how you can help that person, then you want to have a meeting with it because there's an opportunity there.
I like the collaboration. It's not like most networking events typically, you just go in a room, people just go to who they know. And it's like, this is a little better, it gets you out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
So that's what's good about this. That's something I like to see more, like instead of just going to people you know, that's what networking is, something you don't know.
It's nice to be introduced to a new format. This forces us to learn about each other's businesses and get out of our comfort zones and really participate.
We want to make sure that we value our time and we're very intentional and we have a purpose for coming here.
And that's the whole goal of this networking, is to really, get to know each other in a deeper level, because not just the surface, not just an acquaintance, not just a first time meeting.
Because this is partnership also. I mean, you're here, you're getting to know each other, you're creating. That's why you have to build lasting and meaningful relationships.
In Karate Legacy and the Power Within, we don't just teach karate techniques, we share the inspiring stories of incredible martial artists. Latino Gonzalez, the father of karate, paved the way for martial arts in the Philippines. His legacy lives on through his sons, Rolando and Roberto Gonzalez, who starred in over 100 Philippine karate movies, captivating audiences and bringing karate to the silver screen. Then we have Patricia Gonzalez, a symbol of strength and resilience. After overcoming her own battles, Patricia's journey embodies the spirit of perseverance. Her story encourages us to face our challenges head-on and emerge victorious. Each character in this book has a unique journey, friends and students who have dedicated their lives to mastering the art of karate. Their shared passion not only deepens their bond, but also strengthens their resolve to uplift one another. Through these compelling stories, Karate Legacy and the Power Within reveals the essence of karate: courage, unity, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Join us in celebrating these extraordinary individuals and discover the strength that lies within you. Grab your copy of Karate Legacy and the Power Within, available now on Amazon.
And we're back to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. I am your host, M. Teresa Lawrence, here with my guest, Ozzy Stewart. And in this segment, it's really cool because Ozzy obviously is a Renaissance woman. She's done amazing things. But now I'm going to talk about her passion work, which is her nonprofit. And so, Ozzy, if you could share what you're doing now, share about the nonprofit, and how you're helping uplift the world.
Thank you very much, Teresa. The nonprofit is called Beyond the Call 24/7. And that is the call to action arm to a particular segment of my podcast, which is called On the Call. And that segment deals with hard issues of abuse, addiction, trafficking, homelessness, animal welfare, climate change. So I've spoken to someone who has experienced or is in the fight of any one of those issues. Very, very hard conversations to have. So if I'm speaking within that realm, I need to give people a place to go to, or an organization where they can have help, or if they have friends or know people who need the help, to get the help from. I don't do the programs myself, but because there are a number of really good grassroots organizations out there who are doing the hard work and need the help. So the organization, the nonprofit, helps to raise funds for those grassroots organizations. Right now, this year, we're doing 3 overseas at this point in Trinidad. 2 dealing with animals. 1 is the largest no-kill shelter in the entire Caribbean. Once the animal gets on that land, they have a place for life, whether they have 1 leg, 3 eyes, or 1 eye, 3 legs, whether they're, needed of rehabilitation,
Well,
whatever.
listen up, animal lovers, get a hold of Ozzy. That is beautiful work.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so it's no kill.
No kill. The other one, other animal organization is called Venus Doggess of Love. And what this person is, she's a multi-hyphenate, but she does film and all this sort of thing. But if she comes upon, and she often comes upon animals who are in serious need of a rehabilitation, she would pick them up, take them home, rehabilitate them, and then find places for them to fly. Mostly dogs. We have found that a lot of the ones that she has sent away to Germany, New England, wherever, they have won awards of one kind or another. Wonderful work. Singular person doing fantastic work. And then we have another one who deals with abuse, where she is building almost by herself a space to help women or men who have suffered abuse. So those are the 3 that we're doing this year. We have a fundraiser that is going out there between now and December. But the nonprofit really is to shine light on not only the charities that are out there, grassroots level, but also to raise the awareness that we can heal if we, and like myself, writing things, if we stop being silent. So my first event happened on the 12th of September. It was called Healing Abuse, where we covered that big story, healing abuse, with art that depicted abuse and healing. We covered it we created our own sort of calm app in a film. We showed leaves and water and light, and just a beautiful thing that calmed the entire space. We did a beautiful, we had a pianist who played music. We had a singer who created a song about abuse that really hit you between the eyes and heart. It spoke to the women, but it also pulled in the men. And we had more men speaking than women, because I wanted to envelop women, support women by having more men. And they came out and broke the silence and spoke to solutions from their careers and experiences to abuse. So we were sponsored by TD Bank, which was their corporate office here in New York, was amazing, thankfully. And then we're looking to take it now abroad, across borders, Canada, Trinidad to start. People are already asking, why don't you bring it to London? Why don't you bring it to Accra? That sort of thing. So one step at a time. But so again, then Beyond the Call is an extension of On the Call. On the Call is where we speak to these issues. That is one, hard issues, but I also have 3 others. One is thank you, is how I began. I wanted to give thanks to people who, I had a little bit of a health scare in 2019. And I said, God, listen, I know I need to name it. I need to harness it. You need to take care of it. But with all of that, get me through it, because I need to give thanks to people who have brought me through this life. And it's not just, they say it's countries. I'm all over the place. So it's a lot of people. And so that's my thank you series. And then I have another segment called Since Then, where I go back into old conversations and I say to people, listen, you remembered, you've not been forgotten, but what are the 3 things you have accomplished since then? Whether it's hanging a picture on a wall or whatever it is,
So that's beautiful. And if the audience members want to get a hold of you, how would they be able to do that?
If we're always looking for support. So our support, again, I do live conversations. So I go to people to sit and have a conversation with them. I can be reached for the podcast at onthecall20@gmail.com. And for the nonprofit, and again, we are looking to align ourselves with people or organizations who can help move this big plan that we have for 2026, September 12, 2026. And I can be reached there at beyondthecall23@gmail.com.
Okay, I'm going to repeat that for the audience. beyondthecall23@gmail.com.
For the nonprofit.
And with that, Ozzie, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. You are just a Renaissance person. Your story is fabulous, and what you're doing now with the nonprofit is so inspiring. So thank you for being with us. And for all of you listening, I am your host, M. Teresa Lawrence. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.
Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.